things here for you.
You got that Sam Mealy nugget?
The first is Cookie Lavageno.
Yeah,
They
Cookie
fired
Lavageno, replaced by Sam.
Yes. But the first hint we had that Calvin might be an unusual owner came in early May of the first year they were here when he gave Cookie a 1 week leave of absence to, an unwanted leave of absence to get his bleep together, basically, as the manager. He gave his manager a leave of absence and let Sam manage him. So I'd have to look up the dates, but it was within a month of them playing their first game. And then about a month later, then
June 22nd.
Cookie came back and he fired him.
No. 23rd, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on this day in sports disappointment history.
Cookie came back, and then he fired him after about a month or so. He had the same problem, Calvin, with that team in '61 that we have now. Mm-hmm. The owner was trying to figure out what was wrong with his team. You had a bad team. That's what, just like now, we have a bad team.
So Cookie Lavageno was the initial Twins manager here.
And
did he come from Washington with them?
Yes, he came from Washington with them. And he's famous for, what did he do? He's famous for a moment in the World Series from like the 30s when he either gets robbed of a hit or he makes a great catch in the World Series. Cookie Lavageno. What a great old baseball name.
It is a good name. What was his name, I wonder?
I don't know what his real name
Look up Cookie Lavageno's name.
Lavaggetto, I believe. Lavatti.
Gotcha.
And that's number one. Number two, the back page of the Star Tribune front section today, a sayonara from Glenn Taylor.
Then he got a deal on that ad.
Harry Arthur Cookie Lavageno.
Harry Arthur Lavageno.
Yes.
So when was he born?
He was born December 1st of 1912, and he passed away August 10th of 1990.
He was going on 50 when he was here, coach and manager.
100 years ain't what it used to be.
And
born in Oakland, California, he played for the Brooklyn Dodgers as a third baseman.
But here's the good news about the Glenn sale, right?
Yes.
He's only getting $1.5 billion. The Lakers are getting $10 billion.
$10 billion.
$10 billion. So let's say we're worth half as much as the Lakers.
Right.
These guys are getting the greatest bargain ever.
It really is.
They get the Lynx too.
Yep.
And the Lynx the WNBA teams are being sold for $100 million now. And here's the good news. When they tell us they need a new arena, we can say, boys, use that $3.5 billion that you got as a discount. You can build your own arena, just like the guy just like Bill McGuire did. So
I hope so.
My fear, however, is that they will decide to build it out in the suburbs someplace and leave downtown Minneapolis in even more horrendous condition than it is already, with an empty Target Center, with nothing, if they would build a majestic arena, and we got the XL, you would have the third best arena in town, and you don't have enough customers the way it is. So.
I wish I could have a half hour with that guy from Mars who's the NBA commissioner.
Yes.
Silver.
Adam Silver.
God, he looks like an alien. I would say you've got some of the most marvelous athletes in the world, and you've got them packaged into one of the worst products imaginable. I can't take it. They have too many timeouts.
Too many timeouts.
There's no rhythm and flow to the game.
Oh, they're beating the hell out of each other now.
It's not watchable. And last night I click once in a while just to see the score, and then I watch. Then I bet myself with 7 minutes left, how much can I get done? What else can I do? And turn it on. There'll still be 2 minutes left.
2 chapters.
Yeah, there'll still be 2 minutes left.
Well, they've added now, I'm not one of those guys that says I don't watch the NBA because they travel. They let them travel. And so we gave them the 2 steps, right? And then we added the Euro step, which means you can stop, right? Mm-hmm. And then you can take another step, and you don't have to dribble. You can take 2 steps today, you don't have to dribble. But now we have added the gather. So you take 2 steps, and then you take the Euro step, and then when you go to the basket, you take another step as you're gathering. So basically, from the free throw line to the basket, you don't have to dribble, even if you're on the court.
Somebody said it on the TV during the playoffs. I love the line. He didn't travel. He went on vacation.
Yeah, it's, but there's a fine line to be drawn between having a lousy game with 70 fouls called and what they're letting them do to each other now. It's unbelievable how physical it is.
But also conversely, the flopping especially with OKC, it's embarrassing. The offensive foul they called on the kid after Halliburton got hurt, he wasn't even touched, and it's that Lou Dart that stymied.
Lou Dart, yeah.
And he went flailing backwards. He wasn't touched.
Yes. Once in a while you get, and at least in the NHL now, we get the embellishment here. The NBA has it, but they never call it.
They never call it, yep.
They never call it. But I decided the other historic thing I have is Oklahoma City is the NBA champion from the smallest market since the Fort Wayne Pistons back-to-back in 1955 and 1956.
Where did the Thunder come from?
Seattle.
Well, then where did the Memphis team come from? Vancouver. Okay.
Vancouver. Yeah. That's what I keep saying. Everybody likes to smear Bettman. He got Vegas and Seattle. They got Oklahoma City and Memphis. I'd say that Bettman won that prize. Now the NBA is going to expand to those 2 towns. But,
my theory, I'm not getting enough credit for it. It's a hell of a theory.
Why can't they do that every night?
Well, not only that one, but in hockey, it's not a joke. It's not a cliche. Hockey players go to the lake.
Yes.
And you and I have always said, who's going to last the longest is the one that's going to get tired of the smell and the uniform, and they're looking out the window and people are playing golf, and they fall by the wayside one by one. The team that guts it out and doesn't.
Yeah.
Florida teams are at the lake.
At the lake, yes.
They'll play in August. What do they care?
Of the damn lake.
What do they care?
Yeah. What if I'm going to go out on the water and a hurricane might come and.
You play for Montreal and it's January 10th and you have an off day. You don't even leave your building.
No,
because there's a blizzard.
That's right.
And in Florida, they either go on their boat or play golf.
Yes.
They don't care about the lake.
And if you're making $8 million, they're saving $1 million in state taxes.
They can pay $1 million more per line. Their GM pays $1 million more per line than other teams. I don't know how it works, but it's a tax deal.
Now, the one thing that does hurt you in Florida, don't buy anything when you're there because they will sales tax you to death. They're worse than us, even if we dream.
Tampa and Florida got it made.
Yes, right.
The dead of winter, they're outside.
How come they can't get any baseball players?
That's a good point.
Miami, I saw on a Friday night, they had somebody okay in town Friday night. They announced 10,000 on Friday night at this time of year.
The crowd they had when they had the Rockies in town?
No.
A couple of weeks ago. Someone said there's no way there's 1,000 people here. Because you couldn't.
In a new ballpark.
Brand new, yeah.
You would think that would be with the Hispanic population and the Dominican population, and you would think that would sell out.
I know a few Cubans.
Yeah, cheap? Tight?
They will squeeze a nickel till the Indian rides a buffalo. Is that racist now, by the way?
I think so,
probably.
But probably.
What the hell? Mildly, compared today to our President of the United States referred to Anderson Cooper as Allison Cooper.
Oh,
in a text today.
How about he drops
In
the
a
bombs and he figures, I'm going to throw a word in for God. He goes, how about that God? We love our God. We got God with us. He didn't know.
He couldn't stand to be on the sideline, Israel, getting all the good pub.
Yeah.
And we're bragging today that the missiles they threw at us in Qatar didn't kill anybody. So that's good. That's good.
Did you watch any golf?
Not very much.
They were at Cromwell, Connecticut.
Yes.
I would have bet you money before the event yesterday that Tommy Fleetwood would not win.
How did he
didn't
lose?
He didn't.
I saw him on 17, and he was going to win. What did he do? Did he bogey 18?
18, he hit it in the rough.
Oh.
Then his approach shot was short of the green, and his third shot left him with too long of a putt, which he missed and bogeyed. Keegan Bradley birdies, boom, wins.
Is the
Two-shot
captain going
swing.
to have to put himself on the Ryder Cup team?
I don't know. It's tough to play and be the captain. You got to run around in a golf cart.
Yeah,
when you're-
right. You do. You can't. You got to. They used to always play, but then now the responsibilities of being the captain. I love the fact he said, he's a terrible captain. Well, okay.
I don't think it's a.
I don't think the captain.
It's not a big deal.
Come on, hit a good shot.
Come on, you guys, go out and get them.
Yeah, make that putt. Let's go.
That's going to be at Bethpage.
Being at Valderrama, I got to see a good captain. Sevy, who Monty's still mad at him because he made him concede on 18 when Monty was going to win the match because they'd already clinched the cup, you know. And Monty was going to go unbeaten, for unblemished. He was going to go 5-0. And then he said, concede. It was like a 50-foot putt the guy had to make. Yeah, Monty was up there about from me to you.
That's almost like your same tirade with the bench coach. I remember you had the bench coach tirade a couple of years ago.
We now have an assistant bench coach.
What?
We got two of them.
Do they straighten out the way you sit?
Yeah, sit up straight.
I wish one of them would say, hey, Rocco, he's going to steal for second base.
God, did they look terrible over the weekend? They were pathetic.
It was Little League. It was the team. It was every time they got on, they just whoosh. There they go.
And you want irony? Buxton's playing as well as he can, and the team isn't.
No, the team's great.
No, Buxton's great. The team is horrible.
The team's horrible. And my best part, though, is Joe. We're gonna start young David Festa, who's has enough issues, but we've figured it out.
Yeah.
We're gonna start an opener, a left-hander, and he's gonna face the top of the order, and then Festa can pitch a little longer into the game because he doesn't have to face the top of the lineup
fantastic.
a third time. So not facing the top of the lineup, he still gave up 8 runs, something right like that, right?
And the opener gave up 2.
Yes, right. God almighty.
There's 2 bench coaches?
We got two.
Does every team now have 2?
I think Rocco's problem is he's got too much whispering. There's too many guys whispering to him. Yeah.
Don't cross your legs.
Let me see what we got here. Twins coaching
That's amazing. That's just, it's so, you know what, Pat? I wasn't made for these times.
No.
You gave me,
thing,
you texted me this morning and wanted to point out that AP ran a big story on
about how hot it was.
Sports played through such dangerous weather over the weekend.
They're trying to get, this guy's trying to get you to call games off if it's the heat index is too high. It's baseball.
Pat, is this right?
They used to play in wool uniforms.
That's right. I said cotton before. I was right. It was wool.
They have 13 members of the staff on the big league staff?
Well, I don't think all of them in uni. I think you can only have 8.
Well, here's what I got. I've got 2 bullpen catchers that I guess they count.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the Twins website.
We don't count those.
Joe, are you ready?
Yep.
Bench coach.
No.
Hitting coach.
Okay.
Third base coach / outfield coach.
No.
That's Tommy Watkins.
No.
We've got 2.
Tommy Watkins isn't an outfield coach. He's an infielder.
Well, that's what it says on the Twins website.
Well, Jesus. No wonder our outfielder. Tommy was an infielder.
We have 2.
We got 23 coaches and none of them were outfielders?
2 assistant hitting coaches.
Yes.
pitching coach Pete Mackey. Assistant pitching coach / interpreter. First base / infield coach is Roman Borrego. Yeah. Bullpen coach. Assistant bench coach is...
Assistant bench coach.
Assistant bench coach.
Who's the assistant?
Are you kidding me?
That's your guy, Hank Conger.
Hank what?
Hank was our...
He was our first base coach.
First base coach, but apparently those duties were
too much for him.
Complex.
Yeah.
Get back!
We'll make you assistant bench coach.
Take a little lead here. Get back!
Then we've got the...
He was very low-key in yelling, get back. We needed more enthusiasm for get back. You know what the Brewers don't need? Somebody yell, get back.
Because they just go.
They go that way.
We've got, like I said, the 2 bullpen catchers, and this one you're going to love. The quality control coach.
No, I don't do that.
Who's that?
That's Nate Damon.
What do they do?
Nate for years was the video guy and stuff like that.
Oh, hey, look at the iPad, and here's what happened on that iPad.
So
Gotcha.
what I'm beginning to deduce here is if you ever get a job with the Twins, you're there for life. So the guy used to be a video coach, so they figured out a new title for him.
Yeah, well, the first base coach is now the assistant bench coach.
Right.
I don't know what
you get to stay no matter what.
You know what? We built that new ballpark, and it's pretty big as far as the dugout's concerned, but they're getting I mean, you're going to be nowhere to sit for the players.
Where do I go here?
Yeah, what do I do?
How many baseball games have we covered over the years with hot weather? As I think back of being in New York and Chicago, it's summer.
Yes, sometimes in New York and
Baltimore.
August.
Was it Baltimore rough?
Baltimore,
Kansas City,
Cincinnati.
Baltimore is where I was supposed to fly from Baltimore to Oakland for the All-Star game. This is at the St. Paul paper.
When they had money.
We had money. I'm going to the All-Star game. I cover a doubleheader in Baltimore, and it is so freaking hot that I fly back. This is so far back you could change your tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I fly back to Minneapolis, go home so I could take a shower and fly out in the morning. And so I couldn't stand to fly all the way to Oakland. It was so damn hot. It was unbelievable. But the AP would have said it was dangerously hot.
Well, you know, Pat, when the tournament started yesterday in Connecticut, it was 92 degrees.
Ooh, wow, you hate that.
You shouldn't be out there.
Don't we like 92 degrees playing golf? Gets
I
us
do.
Loose, baby.
Nothing hurts when it's 92.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I like.
That's right. Yeah, I saw that, and I said,
Now,
okay.
we had a couple of ball players go down.
Yeah.
Ella de Wada, what's his
L.A.
name?
de la Cruz.
Ella de la Cruz.
Yeah.
He kind of
He's
took
too
the knee.
fast.
He took the knee.
He's the fastest guy in baseball. You got to slow down. Well, I was in Chicago. I took Mrs. Ricey to Chicago. It almost cost me the marriage.
Was this on the train?
Train.
That was a
First
bad
of all,
deal.
we get the 9
See,
hour...
the train set up a bad deal.
Yes, it did. We get the 9-hour train ride, and then she's supposed to go to the game Saturday with me.
Boy.
It's 100.
Yeah.
And you know what it was? It wasn't a windy 100 that you usually get in Chicago. It was 100. And that's when 3 of our boys left, and Willens Astudillo debuted in the major leagues as a center fielder. Remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah, it was so damn hot.
I do also remember the phone call check-ins we had with you on the air while you were. I guess we're letting a cargo train go ahead of us right now.
And you said the bar car was emptied out by about the first hour?
Oh, God, yeah, they were all. I mean, it was unbelievable. Well, we start off.
What got into
don't
you?
know.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I did not realize.
You could do it in a car in 3 hours less than that.
I went to the shoe shine guy was there, and I said, train's supposed to be there at 8. Yeah. And he says, I said,
live around
it's
here,
a quarter after. Do I have time to get my shoe shined or
Yeah.
something? He says, you got 2 hours. They're always 2 hours late.
Holy
Then we
mackerel.
find out that it's at 8:15. It's in Fargo. It's in Fargo. So we finally get the train, 10:30 maybe, 10:45. And now they're leaving St. Paul on that road along the river.
Yeah.
And we're going like 8. I could have walked. We're going 8 miles an hour, damn near all the way to Red Wing. Let's go here. That's right.
Let's go
Yeah,
here.
there's a guy with his dog chasing us. God almighty, it was the worst. I said, Katie, we've had some disasters, with
Oh, yeah.
travel. And
Yeah.
I said, Katie, what's the worst trip we ever had? She looks at me and says, this one. And we still got 5 hours to go.
Oh, God.
Let's talk about memories.
Yes, right. If I said every once in a while, I say we should go to Chicago for a weekend, like in the winter or something. We'll take the train. I said,
No.
It's unbelievable. I don't know if they've straightened it out at all, but the bad side is you're there for the 8 o'clock train. And at 8:40, you're the only 2 people waiting for it because these other people realize
This
that
thing
they're
ain't
always
coming,
late
yeah.
or they checked or some damn thing. So, God, that was awful.
Well, we didn't talk
I
about.
had to do. Do you know what I had to do? Rip up the tickets home and fly us back.
Oh, yeah.
And we had that is not only was it a horrible trip, it was very expensive.
Yeah.
'Cause I had to buy two $400 tickets to fly home.
We didn't talk about. Yeah, we did talk about the Panthers. They won. That got over
They're good.
before the summer
Boy,
solstice.
they were even when anytime they had to win, they beat you like 5-1. They just went out and hammered people.
Plus, they had this weird ability to not really get down if they lost.
No.
They just came back at
they
you.
blew the game against Edmonton.
Yeah.
3 goals up, and
Yeah.
one choke job, and then they come back and just kick Edmonton's ass.
I don't see any
Edmonton.
reason why they're not going to win another 2 in a row.
Yeah, they're not going to lose any. Well, you don't lose much talent in that league. There's not a lot of bidding to get a guy out.
Where will Connor McDavid end up?
Is he a free agent?
Yeah, the word is he wants out, and I'm here
really?
in Tampa. See, he's no dummy. He's going to go to the lake all year.
Yeah, right. That would be bad. Well, if he wants out, I don't know.
If you were a professional hockey player, I couldn't think of a better place than Tampa or Florida, just for the weather.
I don't know if Miami area is starting to get a lot of hockey, but Tampa Bay's got these hockey camps and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Denard's son is playing hockey.
Really?
His wife,
Yep.
his wife is an Olympic hockey player, Annie Schlepper, and I heard him talking about his kid playing hockey down there.
Is he
in
doing
Tampa.
some games with the Twins?
Once in a while?
Yeah.
He done them. He's a little better this year than he was. At first, he never said anything. It was kind of the guy was kind of on.
Almost
on
called
his
you
own.
yesterday, Reavers, then I withheld because we were getting a lot of information about a certain player's high school activities.
What made you hold back? Because I always get that would have been a treat because I was taking in the 10-year-olds
I
tournament.
changed the station.
I see.
I enjoyed what I was listening yesterday on the radio because Gladdy A was doing the play-by-play, but B, he was pissed.
You can tell what he is, too.
He was ripping the hell out of everybody. He said, he says, I am not changing my scorebook. That's an error.
Yeah.
And he says, well, Stewie said it was a hard error. They decided he probably got a call saying that ball was hit 105
Once in a
miles
while,
an
you can
hour.
tell he's mad because he says stuff like, oh, jeez. You can tell he's witnessing something.
It's the
he doesn't
disgust, too, when he gives it the,
Yesterday.
huh.
like. Huh, look at that.
I love it when he gives it the, huh.
I got an exchange with him. I'll give it to you. What the hell does he care? He doesn't care. He's a beauty.
Well, he's old school. He's great.
Yes. Yes. And he can't stand this team either. But
Well, what hope do we have? They show no signs of turning this
Well,
around.
their problem, too, was
They
what
had a
carried
nice
them.
run in May.
But that's what I was going to say. What carried them was their pitching, and Pablo got hurt. Paddox came back to what he actually is, and this is going to be a long summer, I'm afraid.
Gladdy, I texted Bobby Nightingale about your outrage on the radio on the Hoskins double. This was his response. He's one of our ball writers. Mm-hmm. Lee could have had 3 errors today if Stewart wanted to give it to them. That was a hard grounder right at him. So I sent that response to Gladdy. I mean, that's to Gladdy, and he says, I give up. Plouffe said it was hard hit. He said, but then he was a terrible third baseman. I don't want to cause controversy here.
No.
Did he say terrible?
Yes.
He did. Oh, that's the word he used.
That's funny.
I'm not.
Well, didn't Gardy, when Plouffe first came up, because he came up as a shortstop,
They
right?
tried him in right field.
Yeah, because Gardy got so frustrated with him in the
He had the
infield.
range of. Leland's got more range than he does as a shortstop. He had one really good year as a third baseman.
Yeah.
So
Well, he hit a bunch of home runs and stuff. Yeah, I remember that year.
Provis, I was there Saturday. Provis was not happy about Brooks. Did you see the end of the game Saturday?
No.
That was the 9-0 affair, correct?
That was the
Yesterday
9-0
I did.
affair. Brooks Lee swings at strike 3
Oh,
to
that's
end
right.
the game. The ball gets away from the catcher and goes 25 feet over to the right.
Oh, I heard about that.
And
He
Brooks
didn't
is
run.
still standing there.
Yeah.
Brooks is still standing there. And finally, Contreras starts walking towards him. But before Contreras can get there and tag him, he just walks to the dugout.
Yeah.
Apparently, this was addressed, but we did not.
I could tell you, I caught the pregame yesterday, and Rocco talked about that, and he
He
did
said,
say,
"Do we keep it in house?"
no, he said that's unexceptable, and Brooks knows that.
Yeah. Okay.
So he called him
did
out.
Say that. Okay.
He called him out because I remember thinking, because I didn't see the game,
Yeah.
and I remember thinking, I wonder what happened.
Well,
so I
he
went
was
and
going to
looked
be
it up.
out. The game was over. It was 9-0, but it doesn't look good for a rookie to,
No.
What, any of the boys blame this stuff on the heat?
Nope.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't think so. The Brewer fans all went home after Saturday though. They only had 21,000 there yesterday.
What did they have Saturday?
28.
28.
Okay.
Yeah, they had 20. Close to that again on Friday night. Too.
That is not, when you're a fan, that is not a fun ballpark to sit in the heat.
No,
because that air does not move.
No, it's down.
If
in
it's
there.
that hot in Milwaukee, do they close the roof?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they
Do they?
they have air.
I
Do they have air?
remember
don't know
being
if they have
there
air.
in July a number of years ago, and it was a beautiful day. It was hot, but the roof was closed. I remember that.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
I like this manager they got, Joe, though. Pat Murphy, crusty old college coach at Arizona State. Was great at college. 3 wives. He's got 3 wives. He's gotten more, predicaments. The AD fired him because they thought some woman, female AD came in and didn't like him, so she fired him after he was winning national tournaments and the like. But he's an old time manager there, man. He just does the old time things, and when he yells at an umpire, the umpire knows he's being yelled at. So he was manager of the year last year as a rookie big league manager, first time
Speaking of that, did you see the Coastal Carolina manager?
gets thrown out.
I saw
Did you
in the
see
first inning.
In the
first
first inning.
first batter, right?
It was 3 pitches. He said, "You've missed 3 pitches
Yeah.
already."
Yeah.
And they tossed
They
him.
tossed him. And then, as he prolonged the argument, and they won yesterday, he couldn't have managed. They gave him a 2-game suspension for prolonging it. What kind of a jackass umpire do you have to
That's
be?
a
to throw
thin-skinned
guy?
umpire. Yeah.
Well, those college umpires suck. They're all at, they're all.
Isn't
the
Coastal
choppers.
Carolina Dustin Johnson's famous school? I think so.
Is he?
Be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be.
You know their
Could be.
story though. It's
I
a
don't.
it's a
They
great
like-
story.
They like baseball, man, down there. They're,
Well, he cuts the grass on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of program they've
and
got
he's
there.
he is a lot of those college coaches are crazy. They're the successful ones, but LSU Wes was the pitching coach for when they won it last time, and then he got it get the Georgia.
Is LSU the team that's gone a couple of years without a loss? Who am I thinking of? There's a college team with.
Oh no, that was an NAIA.
NAIA,
from Louisiana,
yeah,
somewhere down there. But LSU's won 8 national titles now in baseball. They pack them in too, for ball games.
I felt bad for that kid from Arkansas. The end of that game, he would have won it, but the ball went off his glove, and LSU ended up winning the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I felt horrible because he was trying to make a great play, but it just went off of his glove.
The one that went over the fence?
No, the second baseman.
Oh, okay.
You're right, Joe. He played collegiate golf at Coastal Carolina University.
Wait, Joe knows his golf.
Where he majored in sports management.
I bet he did.
But I wanted to give you the bad news. I did this. Chris Snow covered the Wild for the Star Tribune.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went to the Boston Globe. And then he came back and worked for Risebrow. And 42 ALS.
Oh.
Next day, Jim Capel, St. Paul Paper.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, 61, dementia ALS. He was the last 5 years of his life were like unbelievable. 61. And then 2 days ago, Scotty Miller, Pioneer Press baseball writer, 62.
Prostate cancer.
That ain't good. This is not all good. I mean, all really talented guys. They all three went national, after they left here. Capes was a great writer. Scotty was just a wonderful, hardworking guy, and Snow was a very talented writer. That's for sure.
Is Snow still alive?
No, he died ALS.
All
42.
these guys are dead.
He married, what the heck was her name? She covered baseball for the St. Paul Paper, and they were in town together here. And he had 2 little kids, at least 2 little kids when he died of ALS.
And nobody knows why you get ALS.
No, I guess not. Our friend Chris Engler, he's hanging in there. He's doing all, but he's 7 foot. He's 7'1" with ALS. Is there any? Can there be anything worse than that? Being 7'1" with ALS.
No, that's a lot of body
I
to
went out and
control.
saw him a year ago, and he was still standing and kind of walking around a little bit, but.
Well, we are
what?
lucky.
The other thing is, Lou Gehrig, 1939.
Yep.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
It's the same. It's still a death sentence. MS, my sister died of it when it was horrible. But I got friends who were living with it.
Yep.
Yep. So what's the deal here? Let's get going on the ALS thing too here, because that's a horrible thing. So anyway, on that happy tone. What else?
What is it this week? What do we got? We have NBA draft week this week.
Oh wow!
And I'm not till they fix the product.
Okay.
And I can't take it. I had fun when the Timberwolves were in it. I played along and watched and got excited.
30 teams, at least 13 of the draft 13 of the 30 will be Slovenians or Slovakians. Yeah, we'll have 13 guys who want to be Nikola Jokic.
Although you saw the controversy from last night's game, didn't you guys?
Well, who's the player for Indianapolis who went down with the Achilles?
Halliburton. Yeah.
Now, did he tear it, I wonder?
I would assume so.
No, if he did, he's missing half of next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Rick Carlisle, the Pacers head coach, his pregame speech, he walked in, or he got video of the buses that had the Pacer or the Thunder's logo and said champions, like you would see on the parade. He said, "They already got the buses made up, gentlemen."
Boy, was he mad about 3 minutes to go in the half. They gave them about 3 straight calls.
Oh.
He did everything he possibly could to get the technical, but they were afraid to look at him. The referees.
He's a hell of a coach.
He's a great coach. Because I love that team. I mean, that Toppin and McConnell and Siakam and those guys would knock that crap out of
Is Oklahoma City the smallest market? in the
Yeah,
NBA?
they're smaller. And Indianapolis is like 24th, and they're 28th or something like that. Yeah, they're 28th. Yeah,
If Halliburton doesn't get hurt, I bet they win that game.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think I think he's a good player, but he's not like SGA with Oklahoma City. He's not that important to him, I don't think. But Oklahoma City's good, and they if you ask Rick Carlisle, they got the refs in their pocket.
And they're the youngest team in years to win. I don't know what their average age is. I bet it's about 26.
Houston was the surprise young team of the league this year.
Mm-hmm.
What they just did, they got impatient, and they went and traded for Kevin Durant, who's going to screw up their salary cap situation and play half the games and blah, blah, blah. Oklahoma City, they stayed patient, baby. They were rotten for 2-3 years. They didn't go they didn't rush the process.
Nope.
And now they won a title, and they might win about 3 in a row. So
Because they've got even more guys coming.
yeah, they got 13 draft choices,
Something
and
like
6
that.
years left or something.
But how many undrafted players were in their rotation? There were 3 or 4 undrafted players.
Was
There
the
were a couple, yeah.
Caruso, right? Wasn't he? Was he
Caruso.
undrafted?
He was working
They
at a
traded for him.
convenience store or something, wasn't he?
I don't remember.
Well, George Yardley was the star of the Fort Wayne Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
Bald white guy, George. Could have been in a Boris Karloff movie. He was. He's in. And I said, this could be Alex Caruso, but headbands weren't invented yet when in 1955 and 6 when the Fort Wayne Pistons won 2 straight titles.
Because the guy who owned them made Pistons,
Yes, Fred Zollner.
and it only
Zollner.
made sense for them to go to
And
Detroit
and
and be called the Pistons.
In their early years, their nickname was the Zollner Pistons.
Right.
Like he didn't want you mixing it up with any other. What did they make in Fort Wayne? Studebakers. What did they make? They made a car there. One of the cars was made there.
It might have been
Might
Studebaker.
have been Studebaker when they started off. Did you ever know anybody? We had a few Studebakers when I was a kid.
My old man had
family.
My
Did
old
your
man had one. Yeah,
Really?
Studebaker
Well,
champion,
I think my Uncle Fritz had a Studebaker.
1951 or 52.
Uncle Fritz, 18-mile road from Worthington to Fulda. Fritz had a farm like 3 miles out of Fulda on that road. And basically, when strangers left Worthington heading to Fulda, they'd say, look out for Fritz.
He's backed out.
He'd drive out of his farm, take the left to go into Fulda, never could have 18-wheeler bearing down on him, and he never looked.
That's not
once
the
in his
guy with
life.
the Model T.
No, that was Fritz the B-Man.
That's Fritz
my
the B-Man.
My uncle Fritz was he was a vice president at the bank, and
Your dad's brother?
my dad's brother, great guy, but a little close with a buck.
Yeah.
A little close with the buck. They'd go to Badger Lake, and they'd have the cabin, and there'd be some milk at Badger Lake. Somebody'd have milk there for like a thing. They'd bring the milk home, like you might have 2 glasses
Well, who
of
had
milk left.
who had the? You thought you were going to get a family fortune. Was that Fritz?
Yeah, that was the Zwiners.
The
The
Zwiners.
Zwiner estate.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was worth about $9, wasn't it?
No. Everybody we figured it out was going to get about 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
Except we were only second cousins,
Oh,
and because there were no family members left, and they passed a state legislature thing that the executor didn't even know about, that only first cousins could inherit.
oh,
So the 11 first cousins, we got robbed.
yeah. You got
We would
nothing.
have got 30 grand apiece.
The Zwiner fortune.
Zwiner for it. Yeah.
Well, who was Zwiner?
Zwiner was a family farm. They had a big farm out in the country, and the boys were a little off. and they ended up inheriting it, but they were in a facility.
I see. They were in a home.
They were in a.
They were being taken care of.
And Fritz handled the money. You
Okay.
know? Fritz, because he was at the bank, and Fritz would every year they put the bulletin out. They'd put the Catholic bulletin out.
Sure.
They'd put how much money. You know, they'd try to shame. Remember that?
Yeah.
They shame people into giving more money.
Yeah.
And my old man would always open it up, and there'd be the Zwiner estate and give $10,000 to the church. Ah, damn, Fritz. You know, he was very upset. But
how was Zwiner related?
He was a cousin. They
Well,
were
yeah,
cousins,
but
but there were
second
not any brother. There were not any really brothers or siblings or parents. Or
Was he your
anything.
mom's cousin?
No, the old man's.
Yeah.
My mom was an Irishman from Waldorf.
No money there.
These were old Germans from Fulda, but the Zwiner.
They were a little off.
The last Zwiner, my old man died. My mother used to get so pissed. He'd say, he'd kick away $2,500 on the Fulda Giants, every year, and he'd say, "That's okay. We got the Zwiner estate money." She'd get so damn pissed off,
Richard, that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen, and it was a fun joke. But the last Zwiner boy was still alive. I think there was 2 or 3 of them originally, but he ended up. He was in a facility somewhere like in Lake Crystal. He hopped the fence.
Oh.
My old man was dead, dead, and we had the Zwiner guy was still hopping fences, running out, and he ran out in his field in the dead of winter, and ended up they found him 2 days later, frozen to death or something.
Now, when they were able to work at the farm?
I think they ran the farm for a while. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. I can't. I just knew the legend of the Zwiners. I did not. We had some beauties. He had some beauties.
Well, you had Flat Rammer's wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did she get out much?
Not as much as we like. To me, one of the greatest lines I've ever heard in my life. Pat, did she get out much? Not as much as we'd like. And you were being nice. I mean,
nice.
we just didn't see her much. Yeah.
I don't think you sold it very well, Joe, because there was the long.
If it wasn't for Flat, I would have never.
Not as much as we would have liked.
I would have never known the glory of Graubenwurst.
That's
if it
right.
wasn't for Flat. He was
He had the bad nose.
He did. Flat. He talked a different language. He'd talk and you'd say, "Where'd this guy come from?" But he just between the nasal problem and the thick German accent, it was or whatever he was. Some kind of a bohemian or something.
Yeah.
You couldn't really understand Fritz, but man, he was not Flat. I mean, Flat. I don't even know what Flat's first name was. He was just Flat.
What did he?
The boys in Fulda were Trump before Trump. They just gave lions.
What did Flat do? You told me once. Was he a?
I think he was just the guy.
He took care of him.
He was just the guy that if you needed help, you just picked up Flat and he'd go help you move a boat.
Slip a few bucks.
Yeah, and he probably had some guy that he worked regular for. I don't know. But it was, and then he was the number one fish smoker too at the carp.
Oh, he's noted for that.
Yes, he was. But the Graubenwurst was something else.
The dance. Didn't you have the dance after the smoked fish?
That was before my time.
Oh.
But when I did a vocal, they would eat this rotten, stinking smoked fish downstairs, and then they'd have a dance upstairs. What a town. God almighty.
I got to go home and shower first.
And all the kids in town hated me because my old man, it was 56, I remember this, 56 or 7. That's what he was going to give if he had an ad in the paper, $25 for a live mosquito. If anybody caught a live mosquito, because everybody'd say they didn't go to games because of the mosquitoes, right? In the dead of summer.
Yeah.
So these kids were out there chasing these mosquitoes all over. They'd bring them to the old man, and the old man would, let me look at that. It's not live. Your dad's a crook. I said, yeah, well.
What else
Did
is
you
there?
really think he's going to give you $25 for a mosquito when there's 8 million of them?
God.
That thing's not live.
No, it's smooshed. You know?
Let me see that.
Right, well,
not working.
He had to be the official inspector to see if it was alive.
Oh, it's his money. What the hell?
Right. Okay. All right.
Oh, goodbye.
I need you to sell us a car, Patrick.
All right, I'd love to. Jim Paul, Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers, SUVs, all kinds of them. Go to the website and check it out, Valley Group of GM dealers in Apple Valley. You got the 2024s and the 2025s, 4 varieties and lots of factory rebates, low interest rates. Almost some of them have a 0 interest rate, and the financial guys out there are terrific guys and gals. They'll make sure that you can handle whatever you need, whatever you want to pay a month. That they'll make sure you can handle it out there at Jim Paul and Brett Paul. And by the way, if you've been watching sports, you've been seeing all these Buick SUVs. They're fantastic machines. They look beautiful. Get out there and You know what else they have? Fine air conditioning, which would have been good to have this weekend. All right, Jim Paul, Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers. Check out the website.